Ladies and gentlemen, podcasting since 2005, you were listening to Gamer Tag Radio with your hosts Godfrey, Pete Rock, Paris, Pasta. Come on. Yeah.
Welcome to Gamer Tag Radio. This is your host, Danny, aka Godfrey. And of course, once again, we have the whole crew for this episode. Let's start off with Paris. Paris, what's going on, sir?
Nothing much, man. I got a little something to say about Fallout 4 here in a minute, and it's not going to be good for me personally.
Ooh.
For me personally, but yeah, just let's do it.
All right. And also, we have Patrick in the house.
What's up, people? How y'all doing?
Good, man. No drinks for this week? Or
Actually, yeah,
no break?
just poured the beer. Thankfully, didn't hear it being open in the background. Didn't want to sound too much like a drunkard.
I think Pete created a monster. But
you could have, yes. Pete was too much of a bad influence over the years, and it's finally caught on. But, honestly, it makes the show more fun, so it's fine with me. Right. And interesting, I'm sad that Paris has bad experience of Fallout. I have the exact opposite, but I'm sure we'll get to that very shortly.
Okay, save for the show. And also we have Pete.
What's up,
Pete? What's up, man? Are you mad too, or are you good for this week?
I have some issues. I'm not as codgy as I'm not as crotchety as Paris is, but I have my own issues. But I'm working through them, and I'm no longer awaiting greatness. So let's continue with the show.
Oh, okay, all right. And there's nothing to do with Fallout, though, right?
No. I have zero issues with it. I haven't played it yet, so I can't tell you.
Oh, okay. All right, so head over to gamertagradio.com or play.it. Listen to our past episodes and share with your friends. Subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, or Spotify. Also, give us a call, 786-273-7GTR. That's 786-273-7GTR. Or email us at fanmail@gamertagradio.com. Before we start recording, Paris, please, it's Fallout week or Fallout month, or you want to say.
Fallout
please.
Year, man. Danny, be honest here.
Fallout, I won't say year.
2 months. Fallout 2 months.
Okay.
Give it that much.
Go for it, Paris. What is it you would like to say?
I do have to say, you said before we start recording, so should we stop recording and I say all this and then we come back so everyone can hear the rest of the show, or how are we doing this?
Yeah, you know what? I made a mistake. But go for it.
No, here's the thing. Okay, so full disclosure, thank you to Bethesda. They provided me with a Steam copy of Fallout 4, so I got to play it early before the official release. We decided that this game is way too big and just too massive to have an actual review out on launch day. So probably have an official review here in a couple weeks. So again, no spoilers or anything, but just quick and dirty impressions. I mean, I absolutely love the game. It's Fallout. If you're a fan of Fallout, if you're a fan of Fallout 3, New Vegas, even, Skyrim, if you're a fan of those Western RPG Bethesda type games, you're going to love this. You absolutely are. Forget about the graphics. Forget about, look, it's Bethesda. I know it's had some issue bug-wise and stuff on the consoles and everything, a little bit on the PC. But if you can look past that, it's a fantastic game that is going to easily suck up hundreds of hours of your life, without a doubt. And make sure you pick up any and every item you possibly can as you search the wasteland, because you are going to need them to craft. And certain things are going to be at a premium, but I'll leave that for another day to talk about in depth on a review. Now, my rant, while I am very thankful that Bethesda provided me with an early copy of the game on PC, they also, just full disclosure on this. If the copy they gave me was called Fallout 4 Press, it was early. I only saw a couple other people on my friends list that, I knew in the industry that were also playing it. But the thing was, they told us, play it offline. All right, fair enough. Played it offline. So I basically turned off Steam. Steam was in offline mode, so I didn't have cloud saves and had none of that going on, right? This entire time I was playing. Basically, in a nutshell, I don't know how many hours I was playing. I know it was a lot, but I was up to level 10. And today, this morning, PR sent an email saying that, hey, we're retiring the Fallout 4 press version. It's going to expire soon, and you'll be able to download the retail copy. Okay, great. Sounds good to me. Shouldn't have any issues with your saves. And in the words of Charlie Murphy on the Chappelle Show, wrong. Absolutely, I had problems because when I updated to the retail version, I didn't have any cloud saves going on, and for whatever reason, it decided to completely overwrite the directory that I downloaded Fallout 4 in. Maybe it's because I put all my games in a custom directory. I don't know, but I do know this. I had to start over from scratch. So as of this recording, I'm only 1 hour and 26 minutes into Fallout 4, and I'm a level 2. So, you know, you live and learn. If anything, yeah, it's a bummer that I have to start over. But I kind of know some mistakes some things to avoid this time. You know, I'm going to correct some issues I wish and some choices I made early on in the game, and I'll go a different path. So it's fine in that sense. But it does just suck that I listened to PR and I had Steam in offline mode. And since I didn't have any cloud saves, I can't pull those down, and I'm completely screwed. I have to start over. So it's my little rant.
I know a listener of ours tweeted because Paris complained about this on Twitter, and shout out to Mr. Smith. he put PC Master Race for the win, and you see Kermit the Frog's drinking that tea.
Yeah, shout out to your radio. Now look, that's one of my Destiny people. Had to get the D word in there.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty funny, man. But so far, I like the game. I like the game a lot. It's a lot of fun. I won't say game of the year or anything like that because it's too early for me. I like to give it a couple more days or weeks, and then I'll decide, But so far, I'm having a blast. So
yeah, I mean, I would say this, and Paulson, I'm curious to hear what you got to say too. But I'll just say this: to me, this is not a game to rush through. This is a game that you should just play over the Thanksgiving break, over the Christmas break, and just take your time. There's so many things to do and to see and just discover, and again with the settlements, the weapon crafting, just so much to do. Don't rush it. That would be my advice to anybody listening to this. Do not rush this game. In my personal opinion, I will not be done with Fallout 4 until probably the time Uncharted 4 comes out. You know what I mean? I'm going to take my time with this game, not to mention all the DLC that they're going to eventually drop in as well. So, but Paulson, I know I kind of cut you off a little bit. What were you going to say?
No. I was just curious to hear your thoughts and hear Danny's thoughts as well, because I got to say, up until launch night, I was super on the fence between Xbox and PlayStation, just because I just wasn't sure. And I read a lot of feedback online, a lot of people critiquing some of the early issues that the console versions have been had at launch. So really, I kind of went out in left field here and decided, I'm going to have my computer at some point before the end of the year. I know I'm going to buy it on PC. So what I did is I went ahead, just bought it on PC, physical version. And then I was lucky enough to have a friend nearby who had a spare computer who let me borrow. That is much nicer than my crappy little laptop. So I was very lucky to be able to play Fallout on the PC at launch night. And I gotta say, first off, wow. 60 frames per second in Fallout for me changes everything, because I had been playing it on 30 frames per second or less on a console for Fallout 3 and New Vegas on 360. So for me, this was like a night and day difference. The fluidity of the combat now just blows my mind. Where it used to be, I would never try to engage in a fight with multiple people, Call of Duty style, aim down the sight. Now I'm much more comfortable doing it. Bats is still amazing. It's great. I love the redesign where it slows down time instead of just stops it entirely, so you still feel like you're in the heat of the moment, have to make decisions on the fly. But it's in terms of just straight up the gun combat. I just moved from Black Ops 3 beating that the other day into this. It was such a natural connection, and I found myself within about the first 2 hours, I was like, you're right, mouse and keyboard's great. I really like it. Let me try the Xbox One controller. I plugged it up. It installed instantly. It had a preset control scheme. I think I may prefer it with the Xbox controller, just because I'm so used to being a console gamer. And from my experience, the sensitivity of the sticks works very well. And on top of having the vibration and the rumble triggers, and it's even that extra little pump that makes me feel I'm more involved in the universe. But as far as the gameplay goes, it's fantastic. It's like Paris said, it's straight up Fallout 3 gameplay. tuned to I would say a perfection. So I'm really curious to see what they're going to do with updates and let alone mods in the future. But just the pure vanilla game on launch PC, I am very satisfied. I haven't had any major bugs. I haven't had any hard crashes or anything. I'm like 5 hours in, but I'm having the time of my life. And it's just, for me, the game is gorgeous. I know by most people's standards, it's not attractive as a PC game. But for me, going from a console to PC, and now I'm lucky enough to be able to run this game on the ultra settings, so it looks gorgeous in my eyes. It runs very well. Loading times, I'm very satisfied with them, and this is on a non-SSD drive at that, so even your standard hard drives, I'm very impressed with the loading. So overall, this game to me is much better than I thought it'd be at launch, because Bethesda games always seem to have a multitude of issues when they launch. They have to be patched after the fact. But for me, my day one experience has been flawless so far, so I very much see myself playing this very addictively. So I couldn't even call this a slow burn like Witcher was for me. It took me 5 months to beat The Witcher. I don't think it'll take this long for Fallout because I'm already in love with this game, the style, the setting, the mystery. I'm glad I stayed so far away from the marketing and the PR hype before just jumping in blind almost. So everything is like a surprise to me, like, wow, what is all of this? I'm glad I wasn't actively following it. Crazy.
Possum, this is my first time that I stayed away from the trailers. And, I mean, the only time that I got to see it was during E3 when they have that press conference.
Yep, that's the same for me.
The only video that I got to see. After that, I stay away because I didn't read no previews, none of that stuff, because I wanted to be surprised. It's hard for someone nowadays to play a game and be surprised. Sometimes when you buy a game, you already know most of it. So this is like a complete new to me. And it was weird because when I started playing, it took some time for me to figure out the controls and the things to do because I totally forgot how to play past Fallout games.
Yeah.
So it took me some time, but now, dude, I'm traveling, doing like a couple missions now, side quests and everything. So I love it.
I know. Obviously, there's one more thing because I know we're not reviewing this, but I just want to get this one out here. How they handled the transition from the pre-vault to the post-vault, exploration setting, I think it was so much better than 3, and I loved Fallout 3's opening. It's some of the best video games openings ever, but I know too many people that got bogged down being stuck for that first 2 hours in Vault 101 and had issues getting out. This game streamlines it so well that even though you're not physically timed to do something, it just feels like if you're in the moment, you're with the story, you're naturally letting things happen. You end up within, an hour, like 30 minutes later, you have the rest of the game open up to you. I felt that was a much nicer way to get me transition into the story, give me the setting, give me a little emotional motivation for getting out there and getting things done, and then saying, hey, look, now it's all you. Do whatever you want. And I really like that style of game.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
I do have a question for you guys. Now, I love listening to the radio stations, and there's one there that I'm like, wait a minute, is that the same music that they had on the last Fallout?
Yes.
Or is it me?
Yes.
Okay.
No, it is.
Okay.
It is.
Okay.
They brought back some of the old stuff for sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same song, or okay, all right, cool. Oh, another quick question: how big is the file size for the PC? Because I know for the Xbox is 20 gigs or so.
That's a good question.
25 gig.
Which one?
25 gigs
25
on PC.
Actually, 24.4 gigs. I'm looking at it on my PC right now.
There you go.
I downloaded it earlier today.
There you go.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you, Yak.
You're welcome.
Speaking of Yak.
Yes.
I think I just get a friend's request?
Yeah. You may have gotten a friend request.
I did. Just now.
Yes, you did. But other people on the show didn't, but you did.
But where?
Oh, PlayStation Plus on my new PlayStation 4.
Ooh.
Yeah. Greatness no longer awaits for all of us. I am the final. I'm the last guy on the bus.
First of all, Pete, congratulations.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
PlayStation.
Besides Destiny, which is going to be your first game you're going to play on that system?
Well, I did get the Uncharted bundle. So
great job.
I has the Nathan Drake collection. I'm looking at the code right now. So I'm assuming I'm going to have to do Drake's Fortune, Among Thieves, Drake's Deception to get the full experience leading up to A Thief's End early next year. So that will be the brunt of my PlayStation experience, short of beating Oryx hard mode before Paris, because he's going to be in the wasteland on Fallout 4.
I am glad that you clarified that you said the reason that you potentially could do this. Thank you.
No, and I have no problem saying that, strictly because as you're doing the review of this, and as Poston did last week, I am still playing through Black Ops 3. So that's kind of taken some of the bromance amongst, the Destiny wives problem, group, where we're all like scattered now. That whole Tuesday through Friday, Saturday bromance is kind of dissipated with all the new stuff, and it's actually not a bad thing.
No, it's not at all. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna stop playing Destiny altogether. I could definitely see Tuesday being, defined as Destiny Tuesdays. Jumping in, doing the raid, and then the rest of the week being split off between whether it's going to be Black Ops 3, whether it's going to be Fallout 4, whether it's going to be, the 3 people on Halo 5. And as other games come out, I can see how game days are going to be split off from here on out. So
that's good.
Looking forward to it.
So how was your experience, Pete? Because I know you had a PlayStation 3 before.
Yes.
So how was the experience with this?
This is going to be my rant. This is what Danny was talking about earlier. Back in 2008, I had a PlayStation Portable, the white one with Darth Vader on the back. Created a PSN ID at that time, which I didn't know could never be changed, called Scotch Drinker. Stupid, right? 2009, got my PlayStation 3. Actually, the wife got the PlayStation 3. Actually, mine, it's the wife's. She got a PlayStation 3 for us. Signed in, created a Pete_Rock, because to this date, there's a Pete Rock 305, and Pete Rock X that matches my Xbox Live account. So I couldn't find, I had to get Pete_Rock. 2015 comes, greatness no longer awaits for the man, and I'm trying to get a logon that'll match. And apparently I'm digging in through the elitist PS forums, and I find out that you can never change your account. You lose your content, you lose any movies or downloads or media you may have purchased under that account. It's all gone. And so now with 2 separate accounts, I had to go through the frustration of changing email accounts associated to each one so I could set this one to my primary email address. So I kind of understand after reading through the piece, the PlayStation forums, why they don't, is because it's unlike Xbox Live, where it's persistent, where you can carry on your stuff regardless of what your name is. PlayStation doesn't do that. And the reason I said elitist PlayStation forum moderators is because going through them and reading the comments as quote unquote answered, or, answers by the moderators of the forums, it comes across as like, you should have known better. You shouldn't have done this. You're stupid and blah. Don't compare it to Xbox. And it's like, and I know the whole console war thing is annoying, but it's gotten to the point where it's overly toxic to me, and it should be choice. Now I know my voice probably won't go further out into the PlayStation ethos, because well, I'm not going to say anything else on that. But it's a simple thing that can probably be fixed, and I think Sony should hope. And if there is somebody at Sony that listens to the show, thank you. And this is constructive criticism. Allow users to change your PSN ID. I don't know how hard or how simple that may be, because I don't know the backend infrastructure for how you guys do your things, but I can imagine how easy it could, allowing people to change that, PSN ID, because there's people who may have created, their online handle 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago in a different age, different mentality, different way of thinking. Scotch Drinker, not something I want to push across these days. Granted, Pete Rock is probably not the most, mature or whatever. And God knows now anybody that's listening, if you want to add me, the Yak 43 on PlayStation Network. just
you know what's funny? That was Paris that came up with that last minute.
And I totally embrace it. Paris is the one that started calling me the yak back at E3 2015. I've embraced it. I am the yak, and I accept that. But I mean, hell, I would have even thrown money at PlayStation to allow me to change my PlayStation ID, same as it would have been allowed in Xbox Live. So that's my rant. PlayStation, Sony guys, if you're listening, let this happen in the future. Don't make me have to run around with 3 different IDs and have to remember what my passwords are and my different email addresses. Just let us change it.
Here.
Oh, Pete, remember to join the Gamertag Radio community on PlayStation Network.
Hey, why don't you send me a friend request, okay?
I have to check my phone or turn on my PlayStation.
Yeah. When was the last time you did that?
What? I think it was. You know what? I think it was like over a week ago because I was playing Assassin's Creed.
Oh, that silence was golden. It was the greatest 3 seconds of silence in Gamertag Radio history right there.
Yo, you guys are mean. So mean. So, very quick. You guys would like to review Call of Duty Black Ops 3? You think you're ready for this or not?
I don't know, Pete. I mean, do you want to just give impressions, or do you want to wait until you're done with the game?
I'm halfway through the single player. I've played a couple of games of multiplayer. I don't know if I'm 100%. Knowing you having passed through the single player, and I know kind of because I've read up and etc. Probably could. I mean,
it's fine with me, honestly. I think I got my fun out of the game. Okay, so we'll start off. Pete, you're playing on Black Ops 3 on Xbox One as well, is correct?
Yes, I am.
All right, so we're both played on Xbox One. Okay, so first off, this is obviously the third Black Ops game. The story connection, in terms of the past two, it's very minimal. In terms of like, you almost have to like really listen almost really hard to hear those little subtle narrative hints to be like, oh yeah, that was one of the characters in the past games. Because this game is in the future, much more than Black Ops 2 was, and certainly the first one. So first off, single player wise, it's good. At this point, Call of Duty games to me have always been essentially like action movies that I get to play. This game kind of goes off into a left field direction in terms of being more psychological. Almost, you've seen the film Transcendence with Johnny Depp, going more into that terms of what is intelligence kind of stuff. I don't want to spoil anything too much here, but it shares the typical Black Ops situation where it has the psychological what if kind of stuff. Gets into the science fiction stuff, but still has all the basis for getting you into different areas, using cool guns, using cool abilities, and using vehicles. So the core gameplay of Black Ops is set up into, you have these abilities called these cores, these power cores, and there's 3 different settings. And one of them's chaos, one of them is based around movements and melee combat, and one of them is based around taking control over enemy robots, enemy machines. And at the start of every mission, you have like this little hub world that you can kind of walk around in. You can go in, you can customize your guns, you can pick which cores and upgrade them. And it's all based on these requisition points, essentially, that you get for basically leveling up, and you earn them and you can spend them to buy, new weapons, attachments for those weapons, or, I want to increase my powers and, be better at controlling robots, be better at punching and that kind of stuff. It's a little tactical thinking here and there. It does kind of drastically change how you play it, because the 2 fields of, the chaos, offensive magic kind of stuff, where you can like basically send out like a nanomachine swarm that sets people on fire, or you can summon, invisible robots that the enemies all fire at and they're all confused, or directly just control the robots and turn them against your opponents. So it adds a little bit of a mix up here and there, depending on how you want to play it. If you want to play more smarter tactically, if you want to play traditional Call of Duty style run and gun. I like it. It mixes things up here and there. There's also a cool couple segments that are throwbacks to some of the older Black Ops experiences and even older Treyarch Call of Duty games that I liked, because it just seemed like it's kind of like a love letter to the fans. So overall, I think it was a stronger narrative than the past 2 games, Ghost and Advanced Warfare, just because I think they had a better job of explaining the characters, explaining your role, because this time you make your own character, a male or female, and they have dialogue, so it changes based on what you pick, and you can customize how they look. You can even wear a helmet the whole game if you don't want to show your face. All up to you. But as far as the experience, I think I got roughly probably 8 hours out of the campaign on hard and difficulty setting. I had a blast for the most part. I didn't get to try any of the cooperative multiplayer, unfortunately, because it has 4-player online co-op. But I can see, based on the level design, that would be a lot of fun. Based on, some people could have the special robot control EMP segments, another guy could have the chaos, other guy could have the fast movement control. So I could see if you balance that all out, it'd be a more fun, difficult game. Because the new things they added here is not only do you have the veteran difficulty setting, you have this new setting as well called realistic mode, which sounds very intimidating because I couldn't imagine anything harder than veteran, to be honest. So I look forward to trying the realistic mode. Haven't tried it yet, but as far as the base game, I think it's good. I think it's fun. I think it's something you probably would go back through and replay because some of the levels are pretty cool in terms of, is that asymmetrical design where it encourages you for going different directions using different options. And, again, based on which of the 3 core powers you picked, you can go back through and try them. And then once I think you get level 20, once you max out, you can use all 3 at the same time and cycle through them. So it gives you a little bit of incentive to go back through and beat it. Now, what's really cool about this, because obviously we will talk about zombies and multiplayer in a second, but when you beat single player, it unlocks this cool mode called Nightmare Mode. And Nightmare Mode is pretty cool because it takes all of the campaign levels from the original game and basically shuffles them for you, adds a brand new story, and introduces the zombies into the single-player game and combines the two. So essentially, this gives you another 4 set of gameplay modes to go back in and experience a new story from a new perspective as that main single-player character, but in a remix version of all the maps with the abilities of all the undead added on top of the other enemies shooting at you, just if you want to make it more difficult for yourself. So I just thought that was a cool little Easter egg they give to you for beating the game, just an extra little bit of content on top of everything else you're getting for $60. So I was quite impressed by the single-player altogether, just in terms speaking interpolating teams of the campaign and the design and the narrative. So I think as far as the Call of Duty single player, they definitely accomplished what they set out to do. And I think it's a good time. It's worth playing.
That's quick question before you head up to the next part of the game, of the review and stuff. How similar is it to the last game? Because is it like futuristic and all that stuff?
It's very similar in terms of how you move, because the idea of having the jetpack returns from Advanced Warfare. It's not how the last game was more of like a double jump mechanic or a triple jump. This game is more of like you have like a meter kind of attached to you, almost kind of like the flying in Destiny, where you have a certain amount of time you can stay in the air and then you'll have to fall back out. But you can run on walls like you could in the last game as well. That returns. I guess this game focuses more on the robot scenario than the last game did, but the last game was more focused on the people and the exosuits, and that became the super soldier mechanic. This is more on the fact of robots have almost replaced humans as the preferred grunt format. So you do fight a lot of robots in this game, but it never really becomes tiresome. And they do a pretty cool setup early on in the game that makes you pretty intimidated and afraid of the robot. So, they aren't just like cannon fodder as they would in other games. So they actually are pretty challenging, and it can be pretty intimidating when you see, 20 or 30 of them coming at you in a wave. So I like that it is the science fiction setting that Advanced Warfare had, but does do a different direction entirely of shifting away from, the private military corporation aspect into, what is the future of warfare? When does mankind stop playing a role and when does machines take over? So a little more of that Terminator vibe, if you ask me, but I think it works cool in the Black Ops mythology because you still feel like a cool super soldier the whole game.
Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
There's still plenty of football to be played this season, but it already feels like the playoffs at DraftKings.com, where millionaires are being crowned all season long. DraftKings is fantasy football on demand. With so much money up for grabs, every game is the big game and every play matters. Renew old rivalries or create new ones by playing head-to-head with friends, coworkers, and fantasy players across the nation. This isn't fantasy as usual. This is DraftKings. Welcome to the big time. Like we've been saying all season, folks, why be stuck in a season-long fantasy football league draft when you can play every week at DraftKings.com? Pick your players, set up your matchups, and cash in. Look, people were talking about Tom Brady early in the season. Now people are talking about Devontae Freeman. I mean, there's always going to be that gem that you can find. If you can find them at a low price, you can be a winner at DraftKings. So hurry to DraftKings.com now and turn your love of football into a life-changing payday. Use our promo code GAMERTAG and play for free with your first deposit in Sunday's $1 million fantasy football contest. First place takes home $100,000. Enter that promo code GAMERTAG for a free entry now, only at DraftKings.com. That is DraftKings.com.
This is Gamer Tag Radio. Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
Now that we've hit, I guess we'll leave zombies till afterwards because I still haven't touched it. And honestly, zombies has never been a thing for me.
I've only played like 2 matches. Yeah, it's kind of my last of my listing. So we'll probably get to that next week. Save time.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So I guess we could touch upon that. So going on over to multiplayer, that whole running mechanic where you can continue to run plays a lot like Titanfall, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they took that whole mechanic concept from that. And I think we discussed that when we did the first impressions of the beta that came out earlier this year.
Mm-hmm.
But for the majority, most of the modes that everybody was familiar with is back. So there's capture the flag, there's kill confirmed, team deathmatch, hard point. The one thing that I noticed that disappeared was hardcore domination. And I don't know why, seeing how that was a really popular game mode. Hopefully they do bring it back later on during the life cycle of the game. But the new one that they pushed out, I don't want to go through the old ones because everybody kind of knows what those are. You know, CTF, kill confirmed, team deathmatch are kind of the same across multiple game modes. But the one I'd like to talk about is Safeguard. Safeguard's a pretty fun game. Safeguard pretty much has you. It's kind of like VIP mode where you're escorting a specific target. But this time you're safeguarding a robot. Literally, you're safeguarding. You're defending a robot as it goes from point A to point B on a map. And the only time that robot moves is when you or members of your team are near it. And at that time, it becomes kind of like a horde mode where you start getting surrounded and run across with enemies trying to shoot you and or the robot. And if the time runs out within the match, the robot hits the destination, the defenders win. If the robot makes it, then the attackers win. It's not as easy as it sounds. It kind of sounds like if everybody just surrounded the robot and just shot in circles, you'd be safe. But if you think about it, one person has to be the direct escort and forcing the robot to move forward while the rest of the team kind of sits around and just defends everywhere else. It's kind of like a moving capture the flag. It's kind of like a capture the flag meets VIP at the same time. Doing that with a lot of the multiplayer running around and the movement, stuff like that, takes... Honestly, it took me out of my Destiny element, brought me right back into how I used to play Call of Duty with my friends, and it was almost as if I had never left. It was almost like that reflect action of playing a multiplayer game. Mm-hmm. I can honestly see myself, again, and as I said earlier, in the show, I definitely see me not playing Destiny as much simply because it was that familiarity that I didn't feel with Advanced Warfare. Advanced Warfare kind of felt like the Windows ME of the Windows environment. You know what I mean? It was so far away from what I believe the Call of Duty ethos or the gameplay presented initially to what gamers liked. Mm-hmm. It's so it was so different. Whereas this brought it back. It was almost as if Treyarch was like, look, Advanced Warfare was kind of like that redheaded stepchild, no offense to the gingers in the world, but it was kind of like the kid that you didn't know, and it was like, you kind of like, okay, nice, have a nice day, sit down. This brought back a lot of that familiarity with me. It actually got me and the group of guys that we used to play for years back together Monday night for the first time on a Call of Duty title in like a year and a half, honestly, since Destiny came out.
That's dope. Dope.
So I had a really, really good time playing all of the other multiplayer modes. The weaponry felt good. The sound effects were good. The gameplay, the movement, the ability to slide or run on walls, to jump, it all felt natural. And I think Treyarch finally brought it back to where it needed to be.
All right, that's good.
I would agree. I really like the levels. The maps this time around have a really good job of being visually distinctive, but also gameplay distinctive as well. Because every time I have to play a new map, it's like learning a brand new game all over again because of the movement speed of everybody, how you can move, the new weapon type. So it's sensory overload, but I like it because, again, as Pete said, if you play Call of Duty, that muscle memory comes back pretty quickly. But now it's almost like learning a brand new game. It's like kind of going from GoldenEye to Perfect Dark, honestly, because now it got more science fiction with all the weapons. You do have, of course, shotguns, assault rifles, LMGs, the weapon types, but I like the way they look. I like the way they play. And so far, I'm having a lot of fun playing the multiplayer, more than I thought I would, honestly. I think I agree with Pete. I like the safeguard mode, but I keep going back to like the hardcore team deathmatch, and I'm definitely missing that domination. I really need that back in there. So hopefully they can keep cycling and back in new game types. But I've been playing a lot of gun game as well. Gun game is a lot of fun in this game as well with these different new weapons. And
I got to give credit
it's
to
great.
where credit is due. Poston was right at E3. He said he left E3's hands-on thoroughly impressed and almost a return back to what Call of Duty was in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And we kind of scoffed and laughed at it, like, okay, is Poston just being Poston? But you were right. And I got to give it to you. I got to give you kudos because you were right. It playing it shocked me. I kind of had that feeling coming back from the beta, but having played it for 1 or 2 nights, it's there. The gameplay is there. The fun is back, and the enjoyment of wanting to play, the desire to want to play COD with my friends is there. So,
yep.
Big ups to you for seeing that.
So wait, I thought you had the PlayStation 4 version, don't you?
I do. Let me tell you a real quick little story about here. Because I like playing Call of Duty on Xbox so much, I actually went to Redbox and rented the Xbox One version of Black Ops 3 just to play the single player on Xbox because I like the controller that much. And then I have the PlayStation 4 version for a second playthrough, co-op, multiplayer, zombie, stuff like that. But
so you could do it on Nightmare mode on the PlayStation.
Yes. Again, you'll have to unlock it again. But again, I'm looking forward to trying co-op on PS4 because I'm going to try that at all on Xbox One, play purely as a single player game. So to me, that'll almost be a brand new playthrough again because I can play it with a different talent tree than I played on my Xbox Play Pro style, and I can try out the veteran and what realistic is. I mean, is realistic just like they cheat, like they can shoot through walls? I'm very curious because veteran was so much trouble in the past. But it's fun. It's fun to have a game that has all of that content, has so many layers to it, and you can just pick at it here and there, and it's going to have an active community for months and months on end because it is Call of Duty, and more importantly, because it's Black Ops. A lot of people, after the last 2 years, had kind of given up on Call of Duty, and a lot of them came back because of the Black Ops thing, because they trusted Treyarch, and it seems like that has paid off because, I'm very impressed. Pete's impressed. Most people I've talked to that played it are impressed, and I think this is a pretty good return to form for Call of Duty. So again, this 3-year life cycle for their games, very smart move. I'm very curious to see what Sledgehammer and Infinity Ward are going to have to follow up with this because I don't I don't know if going more into the future is going to help at this point. It might be time to kind of jump around here and there and sort of try some different periods of history. But as far as science fiction first-person shooters, I'm kind of tired of them, but still I had a lot of fun playing Black Ops 3, and I can see myself playing it for quite some time as well because it's a damn fun game. Can't deny it. It's Call of Duty.
All right, but thanks for the review, guys. And hopefully next week we'll talk about the zombie mode.
Yeah, we'll add more to that once I get some more playthrough into it, but barely scratched the surface of it so far. You can tell it's a pretty deep mode, much deeper than they've ever done zombies before.
All right, so I have a topic that I know you guys don't have because I found this online, and it was through Forbes.com.
Well, I have one.
What's up?
And I have to go soon, so I don't know if you want me to say it or not. Sorry to interrupt.
What is it?
I have the Steam link, and I've been using it for a week.
Save it for the next week's episode, Paris.
I won't be on the next week's episode.
Yes, you will.
No, I won't.
Yes, you will.
All right. Well, I'm just saying I have to go in 10 minutes, so I'm just letting you know.
So
right.
I read online, but Rise of the Tomb Raider has been getting a lot of great reviews everywhere. Right. So now a couple of journalists are like, is Naughty Dog under pressure now for Uncharted 4 to be even better?
Nope.
Because the last Uncharted game, don't get me wrong, I love Uncharted. Love it. But after playing Tomb Raider, I wish that they could make some changes to make the world even bigger for Uncharted instead of going to point A, point B. You know what I'm trying to say, Poston? Like, I feel that...
Okay.
I don't get me wrong. I love Uncharted, but I think the thing that Uncharted shines the most, I think, is the story. Story wise, is top notch, especially part 2, which is the best of the series. 3 went a little bit downhill, in my opinion. Great design, but something was missing in that game. So now with Uncharted 4, I know everybody's excited. It's coming out for the PlayStation 4. Better graphic. Graphic is going to look even better than Tomb Raider, in my opinion, I think, with the stuff that they showed.
I'll say that last, I guess that was E3, the E3 demo that they had in the extended one. I think it was like on IGN or something that they showed of that chase for Uncharted 4 was fantastic. That's the type of stuff I want to see from Uncharted. You know, if anything, I want to see them get back to what they were doing in Uncharted 2, more so than the things that they were trying in Uncharted 3. If you listen to Naughty Dog, it sounds like a lot of the things that happen storytelling wise in The Last of Us is going to be implemented into the story of Uncharted 4. So I'm looking forward to that. But it's impossible to look. I don't know because I haven't even played Tomb Raider yet. So I honestly couldn't answer the question of Tomb Raider compared to what Uncharted 4 is going to be.
Mm-hmm. But I'm not saying Tomb Raider is better. What I'm saying is, I would like how we got to see the changes with Tomb Raider throughout compared to the first one and this one. I would love to see something new in Uncharted. Like when we played part 1 and then we played part 2, you could tell it's a huge difference. And now, you know, with 3, it felt, I don't know.
Well,
Something was missing.
Let me say this one thing because I have to go here in a minute. So unfortunately, I got to go. Yeah. I'll say this as far as Uncharted 4 goes, and forget Tomb Raider because it doesn't matter in what I'm trying to say. As critical as I am of Halo 5, as far as it being the flagship for Microsoft and it needs to set the standard for what you're going to find on that system, the same applies for Uncharted 4 on the PlayStation 4. It is the flagship game. It needs to set the standard for what you can expect on that console, period.
And honestly, I really don't care about the multiplayer. I'm just strictly campaign.
Yeah, same here. Yeah, same here.
You know, that's the thing that shines the most to me about Uncharted is just the campaign. You know, secondary, yeah, you could play the multiplayer if you want, but like I didn't even play the multiplayer for Tomb Raider. Like I didn't really care when it came out the last game. You know, so
I think the problem with Tomb Raider is it's going to get lost in the shuffle. As good as a game as it might be, and I don't know because I haven't played it, but as good as a game as it might be, it's going to get lost in the Fallout 4 shuffle and the Black Ops 3 shuffle.
And it already is.
Yeah.
It's only been a few days and it already is, unfortunately.
Yeah, and they just unfortunately, and I know Microsoft, I think Danny had mentioned it in our private chat that they're trying to follow a specific game per month, you know, schedule throughout the holidays season. That you just don't put a game against, and I understand they're not going to do it in October to go up against Halo, but you don't put that up against juggernauts such as a Fallout title or a Call of Duty franchise. Even if the Call of Duty franchise may have failed, and it probably won't. I don't think it's going to stand up specifically against the Fallout 4. That's you're putting a lot of eggs in a basket right there, and you're taking a risk of a lot of people's employments. I don't know.
You know why I disagree, Pete? Because here's the thing. They need to release this type of game, which is different than all the games that they're releasing each and every month. Is totally different, right? It will not make sense for them to release Halo 4 the same month of Call of Duty and Fallout. Kind of the same first-person type thing. You know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make no sense. Now, for them to release this type of game, which is nowhere to be found, there's no other games out there similar to Tomb Raider. So, strategy-wise, they needed to do that. You know, it just doesn't make sense for them to release it. It was stupid for them. It will be stupid for them to release it early September or October.
I don't agree.
You know what? I think I disagree with you guys.
Okay, here's what I want to say again because I'm pressed for time, so I'm sorry that I'm interrupting so much. But
no, go for it.
Here's what I'll say. If nameless Microsoft employee that listens to this show ever comes on this podcast, first question I'm asking, why release Tomb Raider on the same day as Fallout 4, in between Halo 5, in Black Ops 3, and Battlefront. This game should have come out in August of this year and or push it back to February of next year, in my personal opinion. Because here's my reasoning. Give it breathing room to shine. Look at the review scores for this. Everyone that has played this game absolutely loves it. They're even talking about it as a Game of the Year contender, which is great. I love the first one, so I can't wait till I finally play this game. But the average gamer, as far as the marketing and everything goes, the sales numbers, because this is a business, it's going to get lost in the shuffle. I'm going to be so curious to see what the first week sale numbers are for Tomb Raider compared to, obviously, we're seeing Black Ops 3 is setting records, Fallout 4 is setting records. Where's Tomb Raider? It should have been giving its time to shine.
There's been more marketing. There's been more marketing than the first game.
But do you?
And it's about the holidays. Why everybody's so focused about day one sales, day 1 week sales? It's about
right.
There's a time.
Put it out in December then.
All right, we'll see from now all the way to December.
Or put it out in August instead of the Gears of War.
But that was my point. Why put it out in August? Then it's out for why? There's no competition.
It will be stupid. Right now, when there's hype. When there's so many games out now, look, I got to see a bunch of gamers on Twitter posting, I bought Fallout 4 and Tomb Raider. I bought Fallout 4 and Tomb Raider. Many of them. The thing is, when people are excited that there's multiple games and it's getting great reviews, the gamers are going to go and spend it. And plus, it's right close to the holidays. So there's people now with more money to spend on games. You guys are still in the old school mentality, Paris. Now get out of here. We don't want you here.
All right, I'm going. Bye.
Later, man. Oh man.
Okay. Wow.
No, but I'm sorry. I'm going to keep carrying the flag on Paris's behalf. I personally disagree. I think if they would have put it out and given it its chance to shine, because honestly,
it is shining.
Hold on. Within the internal gaming and within the gamosphere, people who follow this, right? Did anybody really care about Gears of War? The ultimate thing.
It sold. The fans. Yeah, it sold a lot.
It's amazing.
Actually bought it.
Thank you very much.
And now on Black Friday, they're selling it for like $20 in certain stores.
Yeah, it's a steal.
Yeah,
sure.
it's
if you have an
good.
Xbox One, you have to buy this. I'm sorry, but let's be honest.
Yeah.
It's a really good multiplayer game.
Now, I don't know, man.
All right, now hold on. Let me 2 cents in here. Danny, I gotta agree with the majority here, and I love Tomb Raider, and you know that we talked about this. But this game, it just comes down for me. It's a simple matter of the economics of your time, and for the people that are hardcore, like you, me, Pete, and Paris, we can afford to drop $120 on Tuesday for 2 AAA games. We're like, hell yeah, bring on the AAA games. But most people have to make a decision every paycheck. It's like, I can only get 1 game this week. And it's a 20-hour Tomb Raider decision versus a 200-hour Fallout 4 decision. So it just comes down to what you're going to get more value of, and that's going to be Fallout. And there's nothing wrong for that. It's just Tomb Raider came out at a bad time. It could have come out earlier. It could have come out later. And I think it's going to sell well, but it's going to be a word of mouth thing. And, they can do all the marketing they want. I think it's a word of mouth thing. I think because people are they're going to see Lara Croft and be like,
watching The Walking Dead, and there's ads of Tomb Raider.
That's great, but that's not going to get people to run out and buy it. Having someone tell them it's good is going to do that.
Everybody's a fan of Fallout. That's the thing that people need to understand.
No, I get that.
Every person is a fan of Fallout.
But I don't think pure marketing is a solution
loves
for Tomb Raider.
RPG. My brother loves RPG, and I tell him, dude, are you getting Fallout? Nah, I'm not buying. I'm not a fan of Fallout. I'm not buying it.
But that's the thing.
He's a fan of RPG. The thing is...
But he knows what to expect, and that's right, because Fallout 4 is very similar to Fallout 3. It's not going to make you a fan of this concept. But I think Rise of the Tomb Raider might do that because it is a clear improvement over the previous game. Because I think Rise of the Tomb Raider has more improvements than Fallout 4 did to Fallout 3. Fallout 4 just makes that experience better. And Rise of the Tomb Raider went a step further and be like, no, what can we design this whole concept to be better? So I think going back to your original point, yes, that is why it's a threat to Uncharted 4. Because Uncharted 4's strength is in the narrative, in the plot, in the characters, and the dialogue. It's not
I agree.
Stopping and exploring the very limited environments because they are designed to funnel you into set piece after set piece after set piece. But that's great. That's why we play Uncharted. Tomb Raider has set pieces as well, but as we discussed in the review, its areas are much, much larger than the previous Uncharted, for the point of being it makes you feel like you are raiding tombs, you are exploring ancient civilizations, while I'm basically on a wild ride with Nathan the Drake on Uncharted. And that's fine. I'd love to see innovation to that idea, but even if it's just more of the same on a nicer gameplay engine that looks better, that continues the story, I'm still on board, because I like Uncharted gameplay. It's just not as good as Tomb Raider gameplay. So I think obviously Uncharted 4 was co-developed alongside Tomb Raider, so they can't really respond to what they're doing. But I really hope Uncharted 4 took a look at the past Tomb Raider, at other things out there, and tweaked their game to be something, more than the past games. Because again, as a hardcore gamer, I have no problem with more of the same. I'm in it for the plot ultimately and the narrative experience. But I welcome gameplay change. I think that is huge. Like Fallout 4, as we said, having the ability to create things, create settlements, that's good. That's good addition to a set gameplay calls. I wish Uncharted 4 would do something similar and add a unique gameplay aspect or a unique concept to the level design on top of what the money-making formula that they already have. So as, if it's pulling emotional dissonance from The Last of Us, or if it's pulling, larger gameplay areas from Tomb Raider, whatever it's got to be, Uncharted 4, I want it to be the best game it can be. But I think ultimately Tomb Raider, it's going to sell fine in the long run, but I think it's going to hurt this month because of its competition. And again, I could have been solved putting it, putting it in October with Forza would have been worked, because Forza and Tomb Raider, two ends of the spectrum, they have no competition sales numbers. When you put Tomb Raider against Fallout and Black Ops, it's more of a gray area at that point, and certainly you don't.
Why would you want to release two of your games, exclusive games, the same month? It doesn't make no sense.
No, I wouldn't put it against. I wouldn't put this against Halo 5. We're talking specifically about Tomb Raider. It's a Microsoft exclusive, timed exclusive. Correction. It's a Microsoft exclusive for now. If you're going to split them out, put the Gears of War for December or November. But leave this in its own time slot. Give like Paris said, give this the month to soak and absorb, because this is, according to you guys, I'm gonna roll with the masses here, and if 3 people say it smells like crap, it smells like crap. Same concept here. If 3 people say the game is good, the game is good. Let it shine on its own, and not sullied, or not let the light get shaded by other good, solid games that others are looking forward to. Give this time to shine. Yeah, and that's why we think it should have come out of
I will say this, and I love doing this. I'm gonna take it back to 1998. I was working.
My son was just getting born. Why you got to go there, bro?
Well, I'm not the old guy here. No, I'm messing with you. I used to work at a mall in Miami, and I remember that day, it was one of the biggest hip hop days ever. And the reason why it was so big was because it was multiple albums from a lot of people's favorite artists that came out that day. So it was Outkast, Jay-Z, Tribe Called Quest, and Black Star with Mos Def and Talib Kweli. And I know there was a couple more. I can't remember exactly what else came out that day. I went to the store and I bought 4 albums because I'm a fan of the music. I'm a fan of all these artists, right? I compare that to gaming because the fans that are into gaming, it doesn't matter if it's Xbox or not, they're going to go and buy multiple games because they're excited. You know what I'm saying? Now, the mainstream artists, they might pick, okay, I'm going to choose Fallout, or they might choose a Tomb Raider. And I think that a lot of the hardcore gamers went to the store and bought both games because they have the funds. Or maybe they'll buy 1 week, they'll buy Fallout or Tomb Raider, and then the other week they'll buy the second game.
Yeah, that's fine. Because, as long as you get to both, that's great.
Now the thing is, we need to stop with the whole, I need to know how much the game sold within 24 hours or the first week. I think they have a plan, because this is not about the first day or the first week. It's about from now to that 1 year, especially now during the holidays. That's like the highest thing for them, because they want to see how Microsoft and Square Enix, they want to know how much the game sold between now and a certain time, the first quarter or fourth quarter, I don't know, whatever. Because I think the game is going to do good, man. I think we're too focused on, oh, it's not going to get shine. And I think it is getting more shine than last time because, first of all, a lot of websites are calling this, they're even putting it as Game of the Year contender. Second, I seen ads everywhere, online and on TV, which we never got to see it in the last game. So I think the game is shining. You know, I'm watching The Walking Dead, one of the highest TV shows on TV ever right now. And there was multiple ads of Tomb Raider. And even during WWE Raw, which a lot of the young folks that are into gaming are watching those shows. So the game is going to do fine, man. They're spending a lot of money on marketing, I think.
Yeah, I just hope it pays off for the holidays. I mean, I'm definitely going to tell everybody I can that, you know, hey, Tomb Raider's good. Play it for sure. But again, you know, that only applies to people with Xbox Ones. But certainly, you know, when it's available for PS4 and PC, you know, in the future in 2016, you know, I encourage everybody at that point to check it out.
Buy
it for sure, because then we can actually compare it with Uncharted 4 at that point, and we can tell you, you know, hey, these are either two different experiences entirely, or they're very similar and they're both damn good. Because, you know, I think they're going to be both winners in the long run. But
remember the last interview, Noah was on the show and he told us it all depends on the fans. If they buy the game, then they'll work on the next game. And the reason why this game became available for the Xbox One, Xbox 360, and PC is because Microsoft invested and put in money for the game. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if not, it wasn't for that, there would have been no Tomb Raider 2.
Yeah, I hope there's a Tomb Raider 3. Yeah, I hope it's received well, because I'm all on board for this. I love these kind of single-player focused games. Great.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
Voicemail 786-2737-GTR.
All right, so we're going to wrap it up. That was a very quick hour of
we couldn't talk too about Fallout 4 for too long because we don't want to bore you guys. Hopefully you're playing it just like we are, but we'll certainly get back to y'all once we've all poured a lot more time into it, for sure.
Right. So I'm considering, just going back on the Fallout thing, I'm glad you brought that up. I'm kind of considering doing the Iron Man run through on the first run on Fallout just to see what happens.
Wait, to do the what? I'm sorry.
Iron Man. What? You've never heard of like the Iron Man challenge?
How is the Iron Man challenge?
I've never heard of this.
All right, so the Iron Man challenge is as realistic as humanly possible. There's no meds. It's everything's on hardcore or lethal damage. The hardest difficulty setting. Most people don't get out within 2 to 3 hours max. And it's almost like a permadeath. Like the true Iron.
So it's like, you know, it's your one chance at surviving the wasteland. If you die,
just to see how long you would realistically survive in the wasteland. And the hardcore Iron Man Fallout run through is you run through it, and as soon as you die, you crash your game. Like you literally take your disc and crash it. So there's that. But since I'm doing it digital, I can't do that. So I'm thinking of doing it.
He's all F4. Come on, Pete. You don't have to like rip the disc out.
I know, but still, like that's it. Like once you go through your playthrough, you're done. You're dead. Game over. The other one, which I just found out today, there's no name attached to it, but it's, you know, trying to play Fallout 4 with charisma and luck and nothing else. Just to see what happens.
That sounds fun.
Just to see if you could go through the game and just talk and BS your way through everything. And like that's
I already do the BS charisma thing full on, but that would be fun to try that. Same thing if you do the intelligence level 1 and have all the stupid conversations with people like do in the past games.
Well, allegedly, like if you could do this, and if you come up, and if your charisma and luck is so maxed out that you get those perks that you can convince people or intimidate them, especially if they're lower level than you, and you can get out of most situations just by talking your way out of it. And that's the cool factor of doing it with, you know, the high charisma and luck. So who knows? That might be my first playthrough just to see what happens.
Yeah. Right now I'm just playing it by ears, be like, oh man, I'm just gonna do whatever I think should right in this situation.
Just coming out with just different way of playing it.
So. Exactly. Oh man, that's great.
All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. All right, so head over to gamertagradio.com, post your comments and feedback. And also subscribe to different places, Spotify, iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio. We're everywhere. Just find us and spread the word. All right. And also, if you want, go to play.it. You could also listen to the shows over there. And give us a call, 786-273-7GTR. That's 786-273-7GTR. Or email us, fanmail@gamertagradio.com. Peace.
You're listening to Gamertag Radio. Be sure to like us on Facebook. Follow us on Twitter. Thanks for listening. Tune in next week.